So in late July, I went up to Scotland to a little place called Lochaline, and on the map there you can see the Isle of Mull on the bottom left-hand corner, and Lochaline's on the other side of the water, as it were. I think that's called the Sound of Mull between the two. And I thought it'd be a good idea, as my friend has a little inflatable rib, if he wouldn't mind taking me out to do a bit of fishing. I hadn't really got any idea what might be up there. I thought maybe mackerel or something. And so we set out from Ipswich and we drove to Scotland. And it took a couple of days, but it's all very nice. And I decided to start with, I'd fish from the shore. It's very rocky, as you can imagine, up there. I didn't really know what I would catch, but I decided that that's what I would do. But first we went out in the rib just to get an idea. And you launch it from there. That's the ferry. There's a ferry that goes from Lochaline across to the Isle of Mull every 20 minutes. And so the secret is to get your boat in the water before the ferry gets back. And the first thing that struck me was how incredibly clear the water was, which I thought would be a good thing if you're spinning or using mackerel feathers. So we got ready, and I just put the camera under the water just to see what it was like, and it was just incredible. Just how clear it is, but also I guess there'll be a lot of weed on the bottom. So there goes the ferry, and we launched the boat and we set out. It was a bit tricky getting down that ladder, I can tell you. We set out for a little pootle. Lovely day, fantastic day. It'd be great to be fishing. Oh, there's the ferry again. Great to be fishing on a day like this, only this was not a day where we weren't fishing. We just went out, had a bit of a recce, and came back. And the next day I decided to fish from the shore. So I wandered down the road. There's the ferry going again. I wandered down the road because I was told that you could fish a bit further down. There's a place called the West Quay, or the West Pier. It's where they load up ships with logs, and apparently the water's really deep there. It's 100 meters just off there. So I walked down there, just looking at the scenery. Massive chances of serious rain, but only in a remote bit of Scotland would you get a mobile cinema. I thought it was like one of these sort of blood transfusion places, but no, it's a mobile cinema. And there's the ferry, so the wood loading boat, it's there. So I can't really fish from the West Pier. So I'm just going to have a look around nearby to see what it would be like fishing from the shore. I'm kind of guessing it's rocky. It is rocky. There's a bit of sand out there, but it looks quite shallow. So I think I'll probably be using mackerel feathers or spinners from the shore. But the problem is the tide's out. It's coming in, and I can't really cast from there. So let's have a look further along, see what's what. Is there a way down onto the shore there? No, not really. I'm not going to stand on that. Okay, so it's rethinking time. I'm not sure how much filming I'm going to be able to do because we've got a bit of rain coming on. But this is apparently supposed to be a really good fishing spot. Over there is a quay, that's called the West Quay, and at the moment unfortunately there is a boat loading logs. It's a logging boat, but where that key is, the water drops off to about 100 feet, and I'm told that you can catch conger eel, skate to I think 200 pounds. I'm not planning on catching skate to 200 pounds because I've just got two telescopic rods. One's a boat rod, one's a sort of pier rod. Got a couple of reels. I've got some spinners that I bought from a local fishing tackle shop, and my plan is to see if I can catch some mackerel. Apparently you can catch pollock off here, and who knows, I might put on some mackerel strips, see if I can catch something else. But it's a pretty miserable day today, so I've come with my over trousers on and my big boots, and I'm going to have a bit of a fish and see what's what. So I thought I'd try with some mackerel feathers first, and just maybe a 2-ounce lead at the bottom. I'm not sure if it's just going to be sort of kelp there or whether it's going to be rocky as well, but we'll give it a go. And so I was spinning. I decided to get closer to the water because it's just ridiculous trying to pull the weight back over those rocks. So I got close to the water, did a bit of casting, and then the rain came, and Scottish rain, I have to say, is something else. But I wasn't going to let it deter me. So I was fishing, kind of not particularly enjoying it, if I'm honest, but I thought, well, maybe I'll catch some mackerel, or I don't know. So we're fishing away, and then I hit a snag. Thought it was a big fish, but it's a snag, and yeah, I lost the mackerel feathers and decided it was time to go home. But when I got back on the shore, I thought, you know what, why don't I set up my other rod, which is a little spinning rod, and if I use spinners, I can keep them much higher in the water, and hopefully that will be helpful, and might just catch who knows what. I keep on thinking bass, but I don't think there are any bass up there. So there we go. And just a very light tackle, Mitchell 300, a telescopic boat rod, which is like 8 foot, really light, and then just some light spinners. And as you can see, I'm having a great time. I'm not getting much of a suntan. The ship's still there. You can probably hear the rain, and I'm thinking, is this any way to spend your holiday? And there's the ferry in the background as well, off to the Isle of Mull. The Isle of Mull is somewhere behind those clouds. Anyway, let's have a cast and see what's what. Okay. As you can tell, we're no longer on the shore. I gave it up fairly quickly and decided my friend was going to take me out in the rib in the afternoon. Still pretty miserable, but we are using mackerel feathers. That's a spinner, and as you can see, I've caught a little bit of seaweed, and I've also caught a rib. I did get that out, but I was thinking to myself, those treble hooks, you know, in an inflatable boat, is that really a good idea then? But it was too late. We were fishing, and just needed to be careful, really. So that is spinning with that, and I'm using feathers on another rod. Again, this is a sort of pucker boat rod with an old Mitchell, and we're catching mackerel. Wouldn't say we caught a massive amount. Some were that size and they just went back. Others were a bit bigger. The camera doesn't really do justice to how rough that was in a tiny little inflatable. You're getting thrown around quite a lot. But you know, you've got to be in it to win it, and it was actually quite enjoyable. Although my friend was doing all the steering, and I was actually fishing with his rod and my rod. Bonus. So as I say, an old styly Mitchell, I think it's a 600 or 620 something. I was actually quite disappointed. I think what happened, because it was slightly foul hooked, it was being pulled in against the current, and it was giving the impression of being a fish much bigger than that. So we caught a couple of pollock and a coalfish, or was it a couple of coalfish and a pollock? I can't quite remember. I couldn't tell the difference, to be honest, but the good friends from Breakaway put me right. So after a while, we were out there for a couple of hours. It's time to go back. We're both soaking wet, and we've caught enough for tea, and so we blast back at about 30 knots or something, thinking of barbecued mackerel and barbecued pollock, and what does a coalfish taste like. And so we get back to the harbour, and then it's time to tie up the boat, go and put some dry clothes on and get warm, because it really was pretty horrible. Yeah. And then it's time to smoke the fish in an old-fashioned smoker and a biscuit tin.